and everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. His street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Base Coverage presented to you by our partners over at Knoah Teamwear. I'm your host, Jamal Clay. Appreciate all your support once again. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, like the video. Appreciate all the support. Let's talk some ELF ball. Today, my guest coming in, we have a newly signed wide receiver for the Raiders of Tyrol, Mr. Jarvis coming in. Last year playing in the GFL, had Aaron Jackson, his counterpart, on last week to join the show. And he's going to be teaming up with Christian Strong, their quarterback that played with them in the GFL. So I'm excited to talk to him about the Raiders. It's a historic franchise or historic organization in Europe, one of the top teams in Europe with a great youth program. And, they had success across multiple different leagues. So I'm excited to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit and see what he thinks. But before we dive into all that, here's a quick word from our partners over at Knoah Teamwear. Welcome back, everyone. Again, I want to welcome you guys. My special guest joining me today, Mr. Jarvis McClam. Last year played in the GFL with Aaron Jackson and Christian Strong a little bit. And Christian, his quarterback's going to be joining him with the Raiders heading into next year, ELF year 3. So I'm excited to get him on, talk a little bit some ELF ball, talk about playing for one of the most well-run organizations in all of Europe in the Raiders. So, with that being said, Jarvis, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm doing good. All is well. All is good, man. How are you?
Good, man. I can't complain, man. Can't complain. Obviously, your talent really showed this. Was on display in GFL 1 last year. Obviously, you bumped up from playing in GFL 2 2 years ago, and played with some great talent with Aaron and Christian. But now this year, you're going into the ELF, right? And you're joining one of the most well-run organizations, not only in Austria, but in all of Europe, in the Swacker Raiders, or as people know them, the Raiders of Tyrol. What do you know about the Raiders? Obviously, there was a lot leading up to it, and, you recruited heavily. But for playing for, this team, this fan base, going around the city of Innsbruck, what do you know about the Raiders?
I mean, my first knowledge of the Raiders was probably back in 2018. When I first went out to Europe, so everyone was talking about them. Hey, them boys good, man. The black and silver, them Raiders are good. So I did some research on them back in 2018. They've always been talked about in Europe because everyone knows about them. So I just know that they're, like you said, a well-run organization, one of the best in Europe. So I'm glad I'm a part of that. So yeah,
most definitely. And then the one thing that's changing about them this year is, they're going to be without probably one of the most well-known, recognizable faces within that organization who retired in Shelton, who's actually going to be replaced by your guy, Christian, going into this year. Obviously, outside looking in, those are big shoes to fill. But what do you see as some things that Christian could do, not necessarily to forget about Sean, but just to make a name for himself?
Honestly, just play his game. We've been together since 2013, so I know Christian for a while. When Christian plays his game, he's one of the best quarterbacks ever. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to play with him again. So, like I said, just play his game. Don't try to be anyone else but him. So that's it. No advice, really. Just play his game. That's it.
Hey, just do what you've been doing, right?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing, bro. That's it.
And you're on record. When the league first started, you were recruited by a couple teams, right? You're on record about being a little skeptic about the ELF, rightfully so, right? I mean, who just starts up a league during COVID and expects it to be successful, right? So that's that can be understandable, and hell, I was too. I was like, all right, well, we'll see where this goes. But now it's the third year in the ELF. Obviously, you're playing this time, in the league. What do you see as the future of the ELF, or what do you forecast this league being and the impact it could have on Europe?
Honestly, I think it's going to be really big for Europe. Everyone wants to jump on board as early as possible. I wish I would have jumped on board earlier, but it's all right. Everything has perfect timing. But I think the league is going to take off probably the next 3 years. It's going to be the best thing ever, biggest thing ever. You might have a partnership with the NFL. You never know because I've seen the commissioner was actually at the Super Bowl with
Yeah.
some of his guys. So it's like maybe they're trying to do a partnership with them. You never know how that works. So maybe bring NFL Europe back. So we'll see.
Hey, the crazy thing is that like I think what when the league started gaining like a lot of momentum, and when it started gaining some credibility is when they got the rights to some of the NFL Europe names. It's like, all right,
Yep.
well, if the NFL's backing this and they're getting all these sponsorships, well, maybe this is something we should keep an eye on. So we'll see. I know, the goal from what I've heard is to get to 24 teams, and obviously, we're adding 5 more this year, so we're at 17. So we'll see what happens. But talking a little bit about like your game in terms of like who you are and stuff like that. So, I'm on record saying that I was a little skeptic of the signing when the Raiders brought you on, not because of who you are as a person, but because of the position. Obviously, they have a strong receiver group already with Marco Schneider, who was the Offensive Rookie of the Year, Adrian Platzgummer, and Philip Hahn. I thought they could have went a different route, but ultimately they added you on, to join the receiving group. Now, after watching your film, I was like, all right, I see why. All right, you're a guy that could do a little bit of everything. Obviously, not just a receiver, but you got speed. You could run the jet sweeps. You could even play running back. So the versatility is definitely something that was stuck out to me in terms of watching who you play. And I even said like a little bit of Debo Samuel, a little bit of Percy Harvin, mixed with a little bit of swag, and you got Jarvis. What's one thing about your game that you may think people may overlook?
One thing. I won't say overlook because I would say competitive because people know I'm going to compete no matter what. Every time I touch the ball, I'm trying to score. So it's like no matter what you do, no matter how you defend it, I'm going to try to score every single time. I'm going to compete as hard as I can, no matter what. And it's crazy. Like most people know me as a receiver, but my best position is running back. I just play receiver because I like it better than running back. But my best position is running back. So you might see me everywhere. You like whatever the team needs me, I'm there. So I'm a team guy. So it really doesn't matter to me.
Hey, have you spoke with Coach Callahan about how he plans to use you, or some of the things that you like to do, or some of the things you've done in the past, and like how you could bring that to the Raiders offense?
Oh yeah, of course, but you got to keep that a secret. We spoke about a lot of things, but just gotta keep that on the down level until the first game, maybe. So yeah,
most definitely. And similar to your game, like you're not someone that could just on the offense; you can return as well. But it's a little bit different now, right? Because the kick return is with XFL rules and not regular NFL rules. What are your thoughts on the new kick return rules in general that some leagues are adapting? Obviously, with the XFL, what they put into place.
I actually like it, to be honest.
Okay.
Like they say, it's safer for the players. Not too much of collision with the guys up front running full speed. But I also think it's also easier for the returner too.
Yeah.
Because if the guy is right in front of your face, all you gotta do is block him for 2 seconds. I don't think it's that hard to block a guy for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't think any man will let another man run past him. Like if you have heart, you know what I'm saying. So I feel like it's way easier for the returners. Because I think last year most of the returns were getting down to the 40 and 50 almost every single time. So I'm like, wow, I have a shot at this. I might take it to the crib every time.
You trying to take that thing to the house?
Yeah. So, but we'll see.
All right. Well, bet, man. Hey, I mentioned this before. You're playing a position, or you were assigned to play a position that this league, the talent level at that position is some of the best in all of Europe. That no league in Europe has had this much talent at the wide receiver position, right? So when you're going into the Raiders and heading into the season, is there a sense of like, all right, I gotta prove that I'm the best at this receiver, or it's just I gotta prove, or if there is anything to prove, or is it I'm just gonna go in there and compete and my skills will take care of the rest?
Yeah, just like you said, I feel like there's no reason to try to prove myself because I feel like people already know who I am. Just
hey, it got you here, right? It got you here,
honestly, right? Yeah, like my skills speak for itself, so I don't try to be that cocky guy saying I'm better than someone else. You know what I'm saying? But just let my skills speak for itself. That's it, man. That's it.
Most definitely. The conference you're in is a fun one. A fun one in the sense that you're gonna be able to travel to a lot of
Yeah.
unique spots, right? Switzerland, Italy, fucking Munich.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of
Barcelona.
a lot of cool spots you're gonna be able to go to. So this is a two-part question. One city you're looking forward to going to, whether it's either of those or another conference game, and the team you're excited to play the most.
Um, I'll say the team that I'm excited to play the most will have to be the Munich Ravens, the first game of the
Ooh,
season, because it's right there. Like you said, Sean Shelton is actually, I think, a part of that team now. I don't know
yeah.
his role with it, but he's a part of the team now. So it's just back and forth stuff that's happening on the sidelines. But the Munich Ravens is probably the one I'm excited for.
And you guys got them the first week too.
Yeah, first week, first game, Sunday. I'm ready.
ELF knew
I'm
what they were
ready.
doing when they made that. ELF knew
Yeah,
what they were doing
honestly, they did.
when they set that
And then
up.
the place I would like to travel the most, Barcelona. I can't wait for
Yeah,
that game. And I think they
they just
announced
got
a
a new
new stadium
stadium.
too.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
so the stadium's nice. So I'm glad they did that just to see the city and stuff like that. So yeah, Barcelona is the most place I'm excited for to travel.
Hey, and have you been to a Raiders game before?
No, it'll be my first one.
Listen, y'all got some of the most passionate fan bases. Y'all got some of the most passionate fan bases, not only in ELF but in all of Europe.
Okay,
However,
perfect.
the Barcelona fans are, it's crazy because they didn't get a lot of fans, but in terms of like that culture, the pregame, postgame, end game, like that's probably one of the most fun fan bases to watch, and it's gonna be fun to play in front of those guys, especially in a new stadium. And I hope they could start going from like 900 a game to like maybe like 1,500 or 2,000 because it's only gonna make that experience better. But Barcelona has some of the most fun fans out there, and it's definitely gonna be fun to watch. But hey, man, last question before we wrap this thing up. The Raiders, right? Obviously your number one rival is on the opposite side of the country in Vienna.
Mhm.
That team was the ELF champions a year or two.
Yep.
So obviously you haven't been over there, but in terms of some of the guys you got to be playing with, and obviously you guys have a new quarterback. Do you feel like you guys have what it takes to not only take back Austria, but to not only win the division, but take back what's yours from the Vikings in terms of when they came in, right from the. I think they went 3-0 against the Raiders, if I recall correctly, and won the championship.
Yep.
You guys have? Do you think you guys have the team in place right now to essentially take back what's yours from Vienna?
Yeah, of course. But then again, everyone has this day.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm just gonna win off top because I'm not there yet. But I'm not gonna say we're gonna lose either. So, so we're gonna see, man. The Vikings, they're a strong team. Obviously they won the championship last year. They obviously lost some key pieces, and they gained some, and we obviously lost some and gained some. So
Yeah.
it's a whole different team. You can't compare off of last year, even still. So we'll see how things go this year with them.
That's the fun thing about Europe is literally every year is a new year. Literally,
Yeah,
it's not like a lot of guys return, but for the most part, every team is gonna look totally different than the previous year. So that's definitely one of the fun parts about Europe. But I'm excited for that Ravens game when you play on week 1. But I'm really excited to see when you guys play the Vikings again because that's not only one of the best rivalries in the ELF. That's probably top rivalry in all of Europe. So you're definitely gonna see why in terms of like when you play and you see why between the fans and stuff, but it's definitely be a good game. But man, I appreciate you coming on. What's one thing you're looking forward to in terms of when you get to Innsbruck outside of football?
Outside of football, honestly, just seeing the mountains.
Yeah. Hey,
Seeing the mountains.
things
Recorded
is
for my
big.
YouTube channel. Yeah.
Things is big.
Yeah,
So my history, I played in Switzerland for a little bit, and literally coming from someone who grew up in the city around New York, New Jersey, all you see is city. Literally, you go to Switzerland, all you see is mountains. And you get to Innsbruck, it's the same thing. It's a beautiful thing. I'll give a free sponsor shout out. There's this one Mexican spot called Machetes. That's a real good spot. So check that spot out in Innsbruck. But hey, man, I appreciate you having you coming on, man. Appreciate your time. It's gonna be a fun season. Definitely a lot of good games to catch up on. I spoke to Aaron. He said he's gonna have more touchdowns than you this year. So nah, he didn't. I'm messing with it. But hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, bro. This won't be the last time we chop it up.
Nobody. Hard work, they don't know about it. Hard work, they don't know about it. Hard work, they don't know.